Andrew, I'm going to read your professional bio. That's what's coming up right here. Our guest today, Andrew Newman, encourages parents everywhere to spend the last 20 minutes of the day snuggled in bed, connecting with their children over a great story. He is a speaker, therapist, and author of a growing series of children's books called Conscious Bedtime Stories. They are my favorite books. We literally give them to every family, including letting our neighbors borrow them. You guys, the hug who got stuck, who can't fall in love with that book. His books have garnered public notice and industry accolades, including 4 Excellence Gold Medals from Mom's Choice Awards and Book of the Year 2018 by Creative Child's Magazine. That almost makes me want to cry because there are so many valuable lessons in these books, Andrew. So Andrew's going to be talking about daily mindfulness practices with your children, including meditation and including creativity. Are the books in Spanish, Michelle wants to know?
Michelle, we have just started a translation project. We're working on our first 4 books, Spanish, German, and French. It's coming. It's coming.
Yay. Amazing. Thank you, Shamai. I know. I love these bedtime stories too. Okay. Well, you know what, Andrew, I'm going to have you dive in. But firstly, actually, let's answer this question because I already know that it's probably been asked before. And if it hasn't, it's going to probably be asked a lot. From what ages do you recommend your books?
Because they're in a picture book format, with square pages and that, we're kind of past the hard book phase, but before Harry Potter comes in. So typically it's designed for 3 through 6, but as you get to know the core lessons in the stories, you'll begin to see that they really are lifelong lessons. And I do know that there are many parents who are reading these stories to their kids at the age of 2, but at that stage you're doing it because mum wants to be reconnected with, or dad wants to be reconnected with the core value that's in the story. And you can't start too young with
no, I've been reading so consciousbedtimestories.com. consciousstories.com. Kaya, if you could pop that domain in, because we have some people who would like to order books right now. I definitely highly recommend this. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong with giving these books as a gift. And we have been reading these books to our son Osiris since roundabout, I think we met you when he was 1 year old. So we've been reading him these books since a year old. Now I will share that Andrew, this is totally a behind the scenes story. Andrew came over to do bedtime stories with Osiris. And some of you may have seen this footage in the Little Humans Collection episode, which by the way, another reason to come into the Little Humans Collection, because Andrew's episode is amazing in the Little Humans Collection, talking all about the last 20 minutes of the day and the importance of that and stories. But he came over to read to Osiris, and Osiris was just, he's 1, So Akira and I got in our pajamas, and Andrew read to us. Amazing.
And so actually, let's point out what happened in all of that. It was like we did the modeling. We didn't have the battle of demanding he do anything, but we did the modeling of what it might look like. We did the breathing together. We stayed calm. You got settled into the story. He came in and out and did his own thing, but he was present to that in the room. And I think that that's something we can do at different times.
Well, it definitely is. And, kids, they have such an extraordinary memory because now, of course, Andrew's books are Osiris's 100% favorite books. And I haven't shared this with you, Andrew, but this is what he does at the end. There are stickers at the end of the book, which is an extraordinary idea. And he's obsessed with getting his sticker at the end of the book. But Andrew, in some of the books, you have one bio photo. And in some of the other books, you have another bio photo. And he likes to point out, Andrew does not have hat on.
Wow.
So guys, he's really, what I'm saying is, reading these books over a series of time have become embedded for him, and they are all positive lessons, in the book. So that's why modeling is so important. Andrew, tell us how you, a little bit about your background in mindfulness, and then I want you to jump into meditation versus creativity.
Great. Well, let me take it back to my early 30s. That's when I left the family business, fourth generation business. And I was like, how am I going to be in the world now? What am I going to do, but how am I going to be? And that set me on my path and took me into healing school trainings, my own psychology work, my own healing. And it was through that I originally thought I was going to be like a one-on-one healer most of the time. I thought I was going to be seeing people in a room with a massage table most of the time. And then my creativity emerged. And then I was learning so much about how my childhood had affected me, and could see it in every classmate and could see it in every client. And it was like, wait, this is madness. Okay. I was lucky. I was really lucky to have the time and the resource to redirect my life and to come back into connection with myself. But I was on a trajectory that was taking me further and further away from the essence of who I am in order to just do my thing in the world. I want for kids never to have to lose themselves quite as much as I had to lose myself. So my heart, my passion, and my creativity started to blend. And I said, let's see what I can do, writing and working with families and with kids. And stories. I mean, stories are just this amazing medium. I think they're the second most powerful medium. The first most powerful being direct experience. And when some of these things that are in the stories we can't quite give to kids as experience, yet it's an experience they're going to have later in their life. The boy who searched for silence, we're all going to go looking for silence. The hug who got stuck, we're all going to have a head-heart dilemma at some stage. The elephant who tried to tiptoe, we're all going to compare ourselves to other people and forget that we're just right the way we are. I couldn't see it clearly when I started. I just had to write the next book and then write the next book and write the next book. And then this body of work has slowly formed and informed me, and then come out to you, and then you've informed me, and then everything starts to shape and grow.
Yeah, well, it's amazing because with your stories, it really is, it's personal development for the family, because what you were sharing about, particularly about the elephant book, and, I just call it the comparison-itis type thing, look how cute this is. When I'm reading these books to Osiris, it's like a full reminder for me. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Am I searching for silence? Indeed. Yes, I am. It's an all age healing and creativity process. Right. It's not just specific to that, your kids would not receive any more value after, say, age 10, because I am getting something from these books when I'm reading them.
So they are an intergenerational tool. But let's take, for example, that elephant who tried to tiptoe. It's a little bit about body image in the story. Yes. We're reminding kids to be their true selves, love the body they have. Mm-hmm. So, all of us are going to spend some time in front of the mirror. You're going to put your makeup on in the morning. You're going to get out the shower. You're going to be in some way reflecting, oh, I look awful today. Or, you know what? Hey, I look pretty good today. Mm-hmm. Now, all of that is being observed by the little one running around. They catch absolutely everything. They're soaking it in. And our kids want love. Primarily, they want love. And in the very young mind, the deductive way of how I get love is to be like the person who gives me love. Mm-hmm. So if mum is standing in the mirror going, oh, I'm looking awful today, then I must also, as a kid, look in my mirror and go, I'm looking awful today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do that because it's going to make me more like mum, and therefore I'm going to get more love. Mm-hmm. So, fake it till you make it. Stand in front of that mirror and go, you know what? I look great today. This is going to be a wonderful day. Look how wonderful, how beautiful I am. And if you can carry that, it'll help yourself. And then it'll do the modeling at the same time that your kids will also be going, wow, mom really loves herself. I'm allowed to love myself. Look at that. I must be just right the way I am. She's just right the way she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is so important. How many moms do we have on the call today? Zakia, I know I think that there was a technical difficulty with Zoom that would not allow it to post on Facebook. We've had that one other time with Zoom as well. As everyone can imagine here, Zoom has been a little maxed out in quarantine times. So we have definitely had more technical difficulties with Zoom over the next couple of weeks. But after, if we can't get it up, while we're actually here on this call today, it will be posted ASAP as soon as we can after here, when it can go into a different format onto Facebook. Modeling is so important. Yes. So I want to know, dads have this problem too. I love moms, but I want to shout out for the dads. Yes. I wanted to bring that up as well, Neil. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think even sometimes because dads might think that perhaps they're a little bit more invisible in that space. No. No, I mean, our kids, they are fully watching both parents. I still remember to this day when my mom, when I was younger, told me that I looked really good with lipstick on, and then had another conversation with me and said, well, aren't you going to wear lipstick? And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I guess so. And then when I was younger, that just became a mainstay of my identity. Now, to the point of one of the women who piped in earlier, who said that they have a rebel daughter they don't want to do mindfulness right now because mindfulness is cool. I went the opposite direction. I actually usually never wear makeup. Sometimes when I'm on here, I will put it on. But I, going through my own deconstructing and healing of self, period when I was younger, I was like, oh, wait, I don't need the lipstick. I don't need the things. But you know what? We do what we do. The empowered way to approach it is do what we do, be who we be that really lights us up. If that's the makeup and that's the things, amazing, whatever, as long as you inside are feeling liberated and you inside are feeling great about yourself, not attached to the external things. And that's what kids really remember. That's how they self-regulate, is by their own internal, validation and liberation. Can you share the title of the book, please? Yes. The Elephant Tiptoe.
The Elephant Who Tried to Tiptoe.
The Elephant Who Tried to Tiptoe.
And,
okay. So, Andrew, take us into specifically some tools, techniques, strategies around meditation, and then also the differences between meditation and creativity and what to teach when.
Right. I love that there's an 8-year-old in the house who doesn't want to do this. I mean, I think that this is
true.
This is true. So I'm doing a lot of thinking about the difference between meditation, mindfulness, and creativity. I think meditation is something we do, but I think creativity is who we are. And so we bring our creativity into our meditation, and we can do it the other way around. But let's start with something that I've been thinking could be kind of fun, particularly for that 8-year-old who's like, I'm so bored. And let's plug into Frozen 2. Okay, Elsa and Anna in Frozen 2 are our favorite things. Now, there's an interesting thing in this movie because they're starting to teach us that water has memory. And if you have looked into the metaphysics of it or into the science of it, not even the metaphysics, this is true. And there's a body of work where water has been photographed as it freezes. And if you put the word love onto it, it freezes as a beautiful crystal. And if you put the word hate onto it, it freezes it into this ugly amorphous blob. And now I've put together for this meeting today a little exercise that you can do working with this. We're going to give you all the PDF and the download so that you can get it. It's also on consciousstories.com so that you can download it. But we want, it's an exercise that's creative and meditative because you can affect the quality of the water that you're drinking and that you're using in your home by doing this. And it's a fun way to do it. You get your crayons out. You're gonna cut out a circle. You're gonna write the word love or kindness or gentleness. You're gonna stick it on your water bottle, and you're going to get to feel like something's improving if you've watched the videos and the supporting material that comes with this. Mm-hmm. You can also do it to yourself. Like, we're 90-something% water. How do we change the composition of the water in our body? Well, again, the same way that we don't want to be putting a label on us that says ugly, we want to put a label on us that says beautiful. So we literally put the label on us that says beautiful, or tuck it under the pillow at night, and it can affect the quality of your water for the whole night long. I hope I've done a good job explaining that.
I have goosebumps. The chat box is blowing up here. I love that. Apply that to the water in our body. We are around 70% water. Yes. I'm a mom to 2 girls. I've watched almost all the interviews. So helpful. Yes. This is incredible. Do you have something where you can show us an example there? It's so funny. We can do it in this moment live. My water bottle's on the other side of the house. I've got Post-its everywhere. You can see them behind me. That's how I map out my stories. Look, I have paper right here. I'm going to do it.
So do it as intentionally as you can. We're obviously going to do it quickly, but I'm still going to drop in. My hand goes to my heart. I slow a little bit down. And what I need today, what I need inside of me is gentleness. I'm going to add a little smiley face. It can be as quick as that. One of the... What did you create? What was your word?
Well, I was writing beautiful, but softness was my word. So I am writing that right now.
There's my glass of water. I can stick it on the water, or in this case, because it's not going to stick, I'm just going to use it as a coaster underneath. And wow, I feel like I just moved my entire being towards that I want.
Yeah.
One of the important things in this particular exercise is to refresh. It's a little bit like if I use this same Post-it for the next 3 days, it's not going to be so alive in 3 days' time. I'm not going to be so connected. I'm going to see, gentleness, I've seen this before. I'm going to ignore it. Yeah. So you do it again. So I often do for myself at night. I go, what is it that I need to wake up to tomorrow?
Oh.
And then I write it, and I quite often write it on a tissue. Because I don't want it to crinkle in the night, and I just stick it in the pillow, and I put my hands on the pillow just for a moment, and I go, tomorrow I want to wake up feeling playful. Today was serious. Take a breath. My entire being moves towards that which I want. I'm creating. This is the definition of a conscious moment. I'm creating what I want my life to be like.
I love this so much. This is mine, softness. I don't have any tape up here, but see, I tried to make it look really flowy, and I'm going to tape this to my water today. This is such a great exercise, you guys, for kids. Don't you think they would find this so fun? It's a way to drop in, to be meditative, to be creative, and to bless yourself. all at the same time. This is fantastic.
Now, if anyone's friends with the producers at Disney and can get them to make the video of this exercise, let's do that, because, we've got these allies of Elsa and Anna running around inside the psyche of our children. We've got the message that water has memory. It's come through. Now, what's the bridge? How are we going to make it, take it from what we see in this huge story down into this simple practice? That's over to you. That's over to you to play with. And
I love that. I love that so much. Let's see. Usually I just quietly illustrate these talks. I just had to jump on this Q&A and say, this is so awesome.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And I assume that you are our illustrator that has been doing incredible artwork. You guys, if you don't follow us at Instagram, it's Little Humans Parenting on Instagram. You've got to see this artwork. The illustrations of these episodes are absolutely mind-blowing. Talk about another form of creativity. Thank you. Thank you. It's such a wonderful feeling to know that you could actually self-direct to feel the way that you wish. This is such a multi-layered activity that we can do with our children and with ourselves, because again, how much better if you were able to just drop in and participate in the writing the one word exercise. How much better do you feel right now? I feel softer just knowing that I am invoking it in, and that I am taking action, in the direction of that which I would love to feel. That is a great technique. And also, Andrew, in the chat box, we did post from Mindvalley, I believe, a link to, Kids Mindfulness Exercises handout. If you scroll back in the inbox, actually, I'll just post it up again since I'm talking about it. Let me copy and paste this so that you guys can get this right here. Andrew's workbook. What are some of the other exercises that we would see on that handout, Andrew?
So on that handout, there is a touch point into the breathing, so we can introduce that snuggle breathing meditation that we did at the beginning. Those 4 breaths. There's a little breathing song that you can play with. What I like, it's important for kids that, and this thing where we lifted our arms, it's like, that's right, we have to have our body engaged with the process. We're all at risk at some stage of our head dropping out or our heart dropping out and disconnection coming into our body. These are regulatory exercises when we want the body and the head and the heart to come back into alignment. So, you can make up your own melody to this. It's a little bit of fun. I breathe into my belly. I breathe into my toes. I breathe into my fingers. I breathe in through my nose. I breathe out through my belly. I breathe out through my toes. And then you start mixing it up. I breathe in through my belly and I breathe out through my toes. How do you do that? I breathe in through my fingers and I breathe out through my nose. Now we're creating a little bit of confusion, a little bit of jumping between nose and toes and fingers, and that orients us in a body-breath combination. So we're often looking for a cross halves. We want to cross our lateral halves.
Right.
With a physical movement if we can, or with an action like this that creates a little bit of like, wait, what? We can breathe in through our fingers and breathe out through our toes. Here comes this little bit of movement. There is also in there, in relation to this, jumping jacks in jammers is what I call it. I mean, I know that the morning's a wild time often, but some of you might be slow starters, and I'm a slow starter, and I wake up and my head and my heart and my body are not congruent. And I do 25 jumping jacks every time I get uncongruent. I actually made a whole video of me traveling across the country doing jumping jacks because
oh my gosh,
it's so good for me. And so it is something that we all know how to do. It's all very simple, but we're looking at it and it tells you a little bit about the superpower in doing it.
Great.
And then the last one, that's one that we can talk about here, is about drawing with both hands. Get 2 pieces of paper out. Get a pen in both hands. If we draw a circle, it's likely that the hands will mirror each other. But once you've drawn it, then you can trace it. You can go both in the same direction. You can go both back in the other direction. You can go forwards in. You can go backwards out. And anything that you can do spending time with a non-dominant hand drawing roots across this brain midline, creating suppleness and flexibility in it, which again is, the neuroplasticity of that is useful for regulation.
I did it.
Wait,
might actually look really good. You know why? Because I had the blessing of massive brain surgery and paralysis on one side. And I had to do things like this for a long time when I had to learn to walk again and learn to heal myself. But it's not easy, but there's something to this with really balancing the left and the right sides of the brain.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to come all the way back to your comment about not being perfect parents.
Yes.
These exercises are not happening in a silo where you give it to your child and your child just does it by themselves. They're happening with you present to your child. Now, this is everything. Yes. Your contact and your presence and being there doesn't matter how it goes so much as you're there together doing it. In one of my divine inspirations, Dr. Becky Bailey from the Conscious Discipline Organization says it's not about the book you're reading, it's about the lap that they're sitting on. And again, just take in the fact that you are the one in the room. You're being the one present, and you're the one connecting and offering your heart. And I mean, that is everything. So when the perfectionist comes up and goes, that didn't work, remember, hey, I know it didn't work because I was there. And so it also, when things go wrong, we have the opportunity to do the work of repair. And in terms of psychological development, the work of repair sets up a real robustness for the child and their confidence to be able to go out and be themselves in the world and make their own mistakes, because they learn from you when you come back to them and you say, I want to say really sorry. I know I got angry with you earlier, and I know I raised my voice. And I could see that you got a little bit smaller, and I can see that you looked unhappy, and I want you to know that I'm really sorry, and I'm working not to do that. When we have those kind of sincere moments and we do the work of repair, that's where the scaffolding gets built inside the child for them to know that they can go out, do their own thing, make their mistakes, and do the work of repair themselves. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We have to do it all of our lives, right?
I love that. I've never really heard it just so simply communicated as repair. And there's something refreshing about that. Well, of course, in the way that you speak it and the tone of your voice, and you're just so appealing. Anyway, I understand why someone made the comment, rent a dad, and wants to rent Andrew. From what age do you start these activities? I have a 3-year-old who really does not concentrate long. She is terribly busy, even at night. Storybook time involves her continuously moving around. How can I get her to calm down? Well, I know what you're going to say, but speak into that, Andrew.
This happens, this happens, right? So, but start the activities. So start them, see if there's an opportunity, if there's someone else who can be in the room that you can do the modeling with. If you've got a partner who's there, read the story to the partner, do the breathing together, let the 3-year-old see what you do. She'll probably come in and get curious, right? We want to invoke the natural curiosity. She will want to belong. She will want to be part of something. So we do this again. If you go, okay, you've got to sit down and do this breathing now. Yeah. We all know that's not going to work. You're gonna. No, we don't need to do that. But we want her to be present to that happening. And you see that first breath. I breathe for me. You do that 3 or 4 times. I breathe for me. I breathe for me. Because wow. I'm allowed to. Wow, I'm a parent. I give so much. There is a phase in early motherhood, more so than fatherhood, but there's a phase in early motherhood where your identity fundamentally changes from before being a mother to being a mother, and there is a loss of self in that, into the service and the love that you have to give, and reclaiming yourself through this. I breathe for me. Is something that I really have to encourage, because it creates me, you, us, and all that surrounds us. Now we're in right relationship with each other in our families. The boundaries become less blurred.
Yeah, absolutely. All of those points that you shared are super powerful. And, I'll just share with all of you, I have that son too. I've heard some pipe up, oh, I have that same daughter. It's because this is not uncommon because they're toddlers. It's not super uncommon. And it is the way that many children, process and metabolize emotions. They just, a lot of kids just simply have a lot of energy. So, it's not necessarily that you have a bad kid or a kid who doesn't want to calm down if they're just kind of off doing their own thing. But the modeling and the curiosity part is also something that Eric Edmeades had shared with us, Eric from WildFit, who was on last Friday, who was speaking into how we can get our kids to be interested in eating vegetables. Just the simple technique of making yourself and someone else's smoothie. And oh, this is so delicious. This is so yummy. And the child might come in and say, can I have some? Well, no, not really. No, I don't. No, it's not really for you. I don't think you're going to like it. No, but I really want some. Okay, but I'll just give you a little bit. It's creating that like fun engagement process. So maybe, for the mom who is asking, try the story time, with someone else who is also in the household. And at the very least, the snuggle breathing, it's so quick, even if you can't get the book in there, it is a ritual that you can start sharing and setting up every night that they can then start to just have, in the back of the top of their mind, somewhere. So it's subconsciously getting in there, if you will.
Yeah. There's a comment that I'm picking up here just about my 3-year-old son keeps getting angry on every small stuff. I try to keep calm, but then lose it.
Yeah.
Right. So, Dr. Shafali is so great on this sort of content and the way that our kids are a mirror for us. This is a lot of the what I find myself supporting parents with in the one-to-one work that I still do. Mm-hmm. How do we drop into our center and realize it's really not personal, and come to that place where we have our centeredness, we have our calmness, and that really is, in a way, the essence of the boy who searched for silence. And I'm kind of tempted to read it, I must say.
You go for it. The platform is yours. Whatever you would like to do, you roll with it, brother.
I would like to do this. I'd like to invite us all into story time. So
great.
Let me double check.
Petra says, please read.
Right.
Ekta, that's a good question. Are we setting standards too high? No. I'll tell you the reason why. These awareness techniques, there's nothing that's high about them. It's actually tuning back into the level of our own humanity. So I wouldn't actually say there's nothing that is a hierarchy. There's nothing that is higher or greater than or less than. It's tuning down to the speed of being human. And there is emotional intelligence with being human. So I actually think that we are speaking the language of children whenever we are coming from this space. That would be my opinion on it.
I bow. What she said. Now, okay, let's get into story time. Now, this is going to be the boy who searched for silence. You've got a big screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
We see it.
So here's why this story in this moment, because we got queued up by our beautiful comment and our vulnerable share that said, I get angry and lose it.
Yes, thank you for sharing. I think that was Neha.
Yeah, Neha, thank you. That's why this story is here now. Okay, so every story, every time, whether it's my book or something else, you can get into the practice of doing this. Let's do that breathing together again. So, breathing in, I breathe for me. Nice breath in, arms go up. I breathe for you. I breathe for us. And I breathe for all that surrounds us. Once upon a time, there was a boy who went searching for silence. He had heard that silence is golden, silence is peaceful, silence is blissful. Most of all, he had heard that in silence he could be himself. He wanted nothing more. This boy struggled with the noise of everyday life. There were cars and buses, advertisements and programs, instructions and advice. Everywhere he went, noise entered in. He found this very difficult, so he went on a search for golden, peaceful, blissful silence. He walked to the bottom of the garden searching for silence. But the neighbor's dog was barking. He walked to the park searching for silence. But the frisbee players were laughing. He walked into the forest searching for silence. But the dog walkers were talking. So he walked right up to the top of the hill. There he sighed. Can we all sigh together? I've done it, he thought as he listened carefully. I found silence. Uh-oh. But just as he had the thought, a noisy airplane flew over. Oh no, he exclaimed. There is no silence out there in the world. This was a false quest, he thought. They lied to me, he blamed. There's no such thing as golden, peaceful, blissful silence. He raged with anger, stomping and shouting and throwing rocks down the hill. With time, his anger softened. I will have to struggle with the difficult noises all my life. What am I to do? He cried out loud. He sat down. Utterly helpless, he closed his eyes and wept. At first, he wept the short, breathless sobs, gasping for each new breath. And over time, his breathing softened and deepened, becoming deeper and deeper, in and out. The boy felt like he was falling inwards. He was too tired to be scared, so he fell. He was too helpless to think better, so he fell. He was enjoying the familiar feeling, so he fell. He fell right into silence. Silence was like a dream to him. A whole world opened up. It was spacious, comforting, and oh so peaceful. A big smile spread across his face as he rested in silence, feeling deeply nourished inside. Aha, he thought. Silence is not a thing to find, it's a place inside me. I can go there and visit whenever and wherever I want. From inside silence, he could hear another airplane fly overhead. He simply smiled. From inside silence, he could hear the dog walkers talking. He simply smiled. From inside silence, he could hear the frisbee players laughing, and the boy simply smiled. When he walked down the hill, silence came with him. When he walked through the forest, silence came with him. When he crossed the park, silence came with him. Silence was his friend. That day, he fell head over heels in love with silence. He loved silence so deeply, and silence loved him back. Each day after, he made sure to take 20 special minutes to fall inwards into silence. All the things he had heard turned out to be true. He discovered that silence is golden, silence is peaceful, and silence is very deliciously blissful. Most of all, he discovered that in silence he could be himself. And this made him very, very happy. The end. Breathing in, breathing out. So we have to be able to fall into ourselves as parents. We have to know this place in our interior and breathe a little bit of space into it each day. There's lots of ways to do this, but this story just takes you right there. And there's an expansiveness that I can feel in my belly now. That's where I am. That's me. I breathe from me. That's where I am. Nothing gets to take that from me. That is my home. And this anger, which will come up and I will feel it and I will be frustrated, gets to be tempered by my connection to this inner place. And so when you read this story, you get everything you need as a parent, as a reminder to take you right back into this part of you. When I'm reading it and I'm coming into this part where he's going from anger, usually it starts to remind me, I get to about here. I go as deep as I can. I feel that place inside of me and I let it expand and I let it live, because that place is doing the modeling to you when I read to you, to the kids in the classroom when I read, to the teachers when I work with. It's this calm presence that is the invitation for them. But I can't invite you to be calm and centered when I'm like this. I can only do the invitation as a body-based somatic truth that I am calm. Silence is a place I feel a relationship with, and you're invited in. So you get to do that invitation. There are, simple tools at the back of each book to, I want to go one page further, just so that you know that they're there. There's always a little activity page. Some of it are questions and answers. Whoops, we missed it. Let's zoom in. That's not what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. And I can't control this. There we go. It's like this is a gratitude question. So it's a good end of day. We want to end the day. How we end the day is how we start the next day. In some level, we end the day angry, we wake up angry. It doesn't go away. So if we can end the day having done the repair that I spoke about, having engaged with connection time, then we're creating safety, love, a sense of belonging for our little ones. But more than that, for us, we get to go to bed going, hey, I did a good job parenting today. Look at all these things that happened. I mean, anxious, nervous parents with self-doubt about their own parenting raises anxious, nervous children about their self-doubt about being children. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we want to, score your own victories and the things that you are doing good enough. Good enough is good enough.
Yes. I was in tears when you were reading the story as I was checking out the chat comments of so many people of sharing that they were also in tears. Kaya, if you could please share again the website for where people can purchase this book series from Andrew. And I'm also going to bring up something that is not probably going to be super popular for me to bring up right now, but it's my call, so I'm going to bring it up.
Let's do it.
I'm finding it so interesting because we had such an incredible opportunity for ourselves to completely drop in during that story time. And I know that so many of us felt it. And I also noticed, so I'm going to just call it out for what I saw too, is that some people on the call were really allowing themselves, I think, to fully go there for the full expansion of the story. Mm-hmm. And then there was also a lot of searching for different things and techniques and stuff, coming up in the chat box and got to do this and, this course. And you guys, I don't, by no means, we're all just totally doing our best. I'm only bringing this up because this particular episode is about presence and is about mindfulness. And it might just be something to note within your own self and your own ability for how long can you stay dropped in without searching for something else. I'm only bringing this up because it has been presenced so many times in the chat box about our children who we can't control, or our children, our child, our 3-year-old who's running all over the place, or etc. It's just a question to ask. That's all, just a self-reflection question. I feel like I wouldn't be fully doing my observation job and being here if I didn't bring it up. So I'm sorry, don't get mad at the messenger. Just an observation question.
Well, let's
I have to close my window 1 second. It's very loud suddenly.
Okay,
Go on, Andrew.
let me bring it into context. So, I'm often seeing the symptoms of parents trying to help kids to transition at bedtime, and at that time there's a lot of callbacks, there's a lot of sudden activity that comes up at that time of day. Part of that, from a psychological, spiritual perspective, is that the child has your presence in a very particular way at a very particular time. It's a liminal moment, it's a transitional moment from awake to asleep. And in a certain way, it's like, I'm not yet full. I'm not yet full of you, mum, or you, dad. I'm not yet full. I want more. And it's like, and if you're, this requires you to put down everything and come present. That's the invitation. That's the calling. You're literally called to it. And, until the point that your frustration goes, ah, and at that point, there's a certain surrender like there was in the story. And it's like, clunk. Okay, I give up everything else but you.
Yes.
Does that sound about right?
Yes. You nailed it, Andrew.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions for you. And this is probably on a lot of people's minds. So let's go with Amanda. I already do bedtime routine where I read or make up stories for my girls. They're 8 and 10. They love it and are connected little humans. I, however, have not quite succeeded in getting them to meditate or find stillness. I'd love any tips on encouraging kids to find a benefit or a way to find that stillness and fun in it. Fun in the stillness. So perhaps the book that he just read might be a really good place to start. And
well, she's also, you're in a slightly older age group. You're talking about 8 and 10. So I would say go to our YouTube channel and watch the story with him so that you can have a conversation about the nature of silence. I'm often leading a classroom and saying, so kids, what do you think about, tell me about silence? And we get answers. From 4 years old, you'll have an answer from a group of kids. It's important to make the distinction between the parental voice, which says be quiet, and the silence that the boy found in that story. That's an arising silence that is a place that they like. Now, here's where we mix with creativity, because if I'm coloring something in, and I do adult coloring in books, that counts. I'm in a state of quietness within myself. And so I would, firstly, as a parent, I would also really take a minute to grow your awareness of where they are in a quietness before you want them to get somewhere that you want them to get to, because let's find out where they are in quietness naturally and look to grow that, if that makes sense. And I'd love to hear how that works when you try it.
That's beautiful. That actually reminds me of something that Ria Lala shared. For those of you who are on the call today, who may have also been on Ria's call, I remember her, I'm probably not going to get this right, but it was something to the degree of looking for the areas in life where your child has actually had that experience doing other things and reminding them about it. So Amanda, you had commented being in the zone. Yeah. So when we're in the zone, when we're in flow state, there is that kind of a rising silence. So, maybe even dialoguing with them about that type of silence and how they might, have that experience with, also doing other things.
And you know, when we look at the big meditation practices that are out in the world, a lot of them take the understanding that the human mind is really not ready for silence, and that in order to get there, one needs to go on a journey. And so, you know, if you're in the Osho community, he has you literally jumping up and down and hyperventilating in a certain way, just so that you can get to the point where for 1 minute you can do something that looks like Shavasana at the end of yoga. And there is a principle in play there that says actually all we need is that minute. We've got to get to it, but in a certain way, can we get to it? And so you keep looking for different paths that can help drop into.
Well, yeah, and let me just even ask you, what is the specific benefit that we would be looking for in the eyes closed, super quiet, silent meditation versus a similar experience that we might have in a flow state of some kind with creativity? Is it necessary to have a sitting, silent meditation practice?
I'm gonna say for me, the jury's out. And I have, as an adult, I have and have not at different times had this deep practice. What I can always come back to is creating something new, and I can do it with a certain effortlessness. Meditation for me has always required a certain discipline, that like a granular grit. I have to sit down now and I have to meditate for 20 minutes. That's not a bad thing to be building. But if we're using the language of regulation, which is head, heart, body in alignment, and we can access the wisdom of the heart and access the wisdom of the head, we're going to find different personalities thrive better in different situations.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good question to ask, because to be honest, it didn't even dawn on me until right when I asked it. Because I'm just noticing, you know, a lot of parents sharing that they, you know, can't get their kids to sit in a space of silence. So it's making me ask, well, is that a bad thing that they won't? And if so, why? And what might be some other things that they're sharing with us about not wanting to sit in that space, and how much of it is a projection of ours onto them that they should be maybe sitting in the space and meditating. There's just there's so many nuances to being a parent.
So many.
Oh my goodness.
But let's go back to that example, standing in the mirror and do the mirroring. Are your kids seeing you in your meditation practice? Do they know that you have one? Do they get to witness it? If you want your kids to be good book readers, sit and read books at home, because they're going to copy you, because they want your love. And to get your love, they want to be like you. So, you know, there's a certain age where that changes, right? You know, at probably around 7, but certainly in the ages under 7. Really be the, isn't Gandhi? Be.
Yeah. I do have a meditation practice, and my son, though he is a busybody at age 2.5, he has a teepee. You know, maybe we can incorporate right now, again, some of Avital, the parentingjunkie.com. She's great at helping us set up different zones in the house, you know, for things. So do you have a really, you know, appropriate and comfortable and conducive environment, you know, for your children to drop into that space? For my son, he goes into his teepee. He doesn't spend a long time in there, or he'll even go into his little tent, you know, that we have for him, but he will be in kind of a silent, contemplative space, you know, in his own way at 2.5 years old. And I think that is in some part due to that he has seen, you know, my husband and I also meditate. He also loves chanting because he sees us chanting. He also loves deep breathing because we do, you know, deep breathing practices. So, you know, I'm a fan of the younger, if you can just model and start with them, you know, there might be a time that they just want to rebel because they have seen their parents do it for so long, but you know, the fundamentals might be there, right? I have a 10-year-old boy who
Probably likes
who
it.
likes looking in the eyes. Do you have some book? Yes. In fact, yes, there is a book.
Glad you mentioned it.
I know which one it is, and it is one of my favorites.
Right, The Girl with Waterfall Eyes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's helping children to see beauty in themselves and in others. And actually, the exercise at the back of the book is a specific eye-gazing exercise. Our eyes are the first physical aspect of our body that form an armoring or a defense when we're born. You know, we all have our defense structures because we interpret that the world isn't somehow unsafe for us. This is developmentally mostly complete by the age of 2, certainly by the age of 6. But our eyes are the very, very first thing that armor. And you can see we see life in each other's eyes. We see what our day is going like. We look at someone, we look them in the eyes, and we go, wow, everything okay there? Like on the inside, because I'm getting to see a little bit of your inside through your eyes. And so anything that we can do to create softening of the occipital region, this is, this is the intent of this particular exercise. We have these wonderful creatures that have emerged in the story, and the exercise goes simply blink 3 times to begin. We're sitting almost eye to eye with our loved one. We blink 3 times to begin. Right. Then we look into the eyes of our loved one. We take a breath or 2 there. We've then focusing on the colors, right? Focusing on their eyes are incredibly beautiful. Focus on the colors and see what you see. And then, dun, 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 right, look a little bit deeper, like through the eyes into the heart. And breathe, smile, hang out there for a second, and then, blink 3 times. Now, I imagine you've noticed that kids' eyes are kind of like, hi. They're like, hi. I don't know where my camera is. I'm like, everyone's just like, they just look at you. And I don't know if it's ever felt unnerving to you that they're like, geez, like, come on. It's like,
you can't hide.
We don't do that as honestly with each other. It's a lot of the men's work that I do. We do eye connection because for men, we have a history of competitiveness and warrior energy, and not that women don't have it, but we've got a lot of it. And it's like, there's a lot of competition and energy to get over the other. And it's like, we've got to meet eye to eye. And it changes rank, right? As parents, we have rank over our kids. There are times when we're like, okay, you need to put your pajamas on, you need to brush your teeth, and you need to be in bed in 5 minutes, right? That's us much higher than they are. When we come into story time, and this is why I like story time, we change from this front to front position where we've got rank. All of a sudden, we're side by side, and we're doing something together. We're going on this journey, and Mum didn't even create the journey, or Dad didn't create it. The journey got created by the illustrator. That's my job, or the storyteller. And we're going to go on this journey together. And paying attention to those postures is a useful thing to, in some way, getting what you want when you want it as a parent. It's if you know your child does better when you say, come, let's do it together, then why would you come at them straight on and say you need to do it? Mm-hmm. Right? You're gonna lose that. You're setting yourself up to lose a battle. And why not just meet them where they are and help them in that moment? They'll develop both abilities over time.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Okay, really quick, everyone, just hang out for, the call. We have about 15 more minutes, but I just want to share more towards the end of the call. Again, Andrew, I'll have you kind of give a couple minutes share again on how, people from around the world can get the books, because we're still having a lot of questions. I know a lot of you jumped on a little bit later in the call and have kind of missed, some of Andrew's dialogue about the books, and the links are also in the chat box, and we'll have Kaya share that again right now. But we will get into more details about his books in a couple minutes, but I want to ask some more questions. And now I can't find the question here it goes. Okay. I want to bring up Kinga's question because Kinga, you brought up dreams. And Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. I think one of the reasons why the last 20 minutes of the day and the routines and rituals that we create in the last 20 minutes of the day that may include story time, may not include story time, that how you're decompressing and kind of metabolizing the day in the last 20 minutes of the day will also inform the quality of sleep for the child and the quality of the dream time. Would you want to speak into that a little bit? Because someone's asking about if their kids aren't getting enough sleep or if they're having bad dreams.
Well, firstly, there's a resource here for you to go and look at my TED talk on why the last 20 minutes of the day matter.
Great.
That'll talk a little bit about this, but you're catching the essence of it, that during a normal day, there will have been a challenging moment that will have happened. It will have been a painful moment on some level in the child where they feel they're not safe, they don't belong, they can't just be themselves because somebody somewhere has mirrored them in a way that wasn't congruent with where they were in the moment. You coming alongside them in story time in the last 20 minutes is the act of doing the repair for all of those moments that happened in the day. Because the disconnection that happened in the day gets repaired by the connection that happens with you coming alongside at story time. Just the fact that you're there, the fact that you've got this rhythm, it re-establishes a level of safety that says, oh, okay, I made it out through another day. Woo. Okay, here I am. Remember when you're 4 or 5 years old, one day is a whole lot of your life relative to us in our 30s and 40s and wherever we are in our stage. It sets up the inner atmosphere. That's how I like to think of it. We want an inner atmosphere that gets calm and in some way the curiosity that dreams to me are an expression of curiosity in some way that we're going out. I'm not by any means a dream expert. It's not an area that I focused on. But I am curious how what it is that is being metabolized through bad dreams in particular, what it is that's being expressed, what's happening, where in the child's inner world and how it relates to their outer world that the dream is being used to process everything. Now, one of the magical things about dreams is we never quite know. But every now and again you get a glimpse of what's in the shadows. Interestingly, that story that I was looking at, the girl with waterfall eyes, ultimately, is a story about dreams. She, I don't know if we can see in the darkness, but she literally falls off the earth. And from falling off the earth, she goes out into time and space. And it's a very etheric story, but because dreams are etheric and wispy like that. So I hope that helps.
That's one of my favorites. And also, Kinga, we started talking to our son at a very young age about dreams and just about our dreams and about the fact that we're dreaming at night. And I believe it was definitely when he was younger than 2 years old. We specifically asked him when he woke up in the morning, oh, what'd you dream about last night? So he talks to us about his dreams every morning when he wakes up. That's a part of our waking up ritual. And I think that there is something repairing, to use, your concept here, Andrew, because it kind of lets them know that there is an integration between the dream time and, the awake time. So that might be an interesting thing to try, just out of curiosity. What is the book with the girl falling off, the girl with the waterfall eyes? Yes. Thank you so much.
So the story, The Laughing Witch, the exercise at the back of it is called a bedtime bubble spell. And what it is like imagining a big bubble coming out of your heart, going all around you. You get to choose the shape, not the shape, the shape's a bubble. You get to choose the color of it. You get to choose how it feels. Now, a certain, from a spiritual aspect, building that container around your child at night who's having bad dreams can be something that helps them. It gives them a sense of autonomy and ownership of their own space. And then I just a last thing on that dream notice. As a child, I had a repetitive dream experience. It scared me, and I would wake up in the middle of the night, and I would either be crying or I'd call for my mum, or I'd go and get her, and she would say, "Oh, did you have a bad dream?" And it's the closest I could get to in terms of the language for the experience for the age. Right, but I can tell you that the experience was akin to my hands feeling like the Hulk, like I had these massive hands. And when I was early 30s, and I went into the healing school training that I joined in the very first meditation in that school, that experience repeated itself. And I came to understand at that point that what I was having was an auric field energy body experience that is repeatable. I could upwell it, and I could create it sitting in meditation if I wanted to do that. But I didn't yet have the language at the age to understand what was happening. So I think there's some real merit in sitting with what were the sensations in the dream. After everything's calmed down, after everything's, again, feeling safe, what were the sensations? Where were they in your body? Go to that, because sensations are really not that scary when you can connect with them in that way. It's when they build on top of each other and become a something that it becomes much more scary.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. We have a question from Tiffany, and I think that this is a really common question. Suggestions for how to reconnect in the last 20 minutes of the day with older children. Her kids are 12 and 14, and they have busier schedules now and later bedtimes. What is something that they could do as a family to reconnect?
I would love for that post to get into the community on Facebook, and I'd love for other parents to share around that. It's not an area that I have paid as much attention. I paid more attention in the younger age group because of the developmental process. I just also want to give you a little bit of like a parent cookie. It gets a little hard, right? Teenage years come along, things get busy. The fact that you've got the intention and the question usually will guide you to an answer that works for you and your kids. It delights me to be sitting with parents who have so much care that they like want to connect more with their kids at the end of the day. Isn't that wonderful? That's like, hallelujah, thank you. Hold the care, follow it, and see where it leads you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, Neha, you have been here with us and you know the drill. But I missed what you were saying has been your strongest takeaway for the day. So Neha, please share what your strongest takeaway was today, and everyone else also share what your biggest takeaway was from this extremely enlightening call with Andrew. So good, Andrew. So incredible. Please speak for a minute to, first of all, a lot of people bought a lot of books on this call. And I could not this is going to leave me feeling so good when I am doing my repair work from the day, that so many more people are now connected to your conscious bedtime stories, because this truly is a reason why we created Little Humans, to shine the light on the people who are doing incredible healing work on this planet. So, Andrew, please just speak into a little bit again about the translating, because we've had several new people who have jumped on. They want to know about the translating, and they again want to know, are the books only available online, which I think is a yes, and where they can go again.
Okay, so let's start with availability for the books. My preference is that you come to consciousstories.com. That's where there's more resources. That's where you can see what else is available for you. In that resource space, go to the schools page. There are coloring in sheets that you can download. Why would you do that? Because you want the values of the character from the story to stay alive in the home. So that's why the stickers, that's why the coloring in sheets. Disney does it all the time, but they don't tell us what the core lesson is that they're teaching us. Each of the books does tell you that clearly. Many of the stories are on YouTube and recorded, so you can also watch that and listen to it. There are online readings at the moment during Corona season. I'm about to schedule those for May. So give me 3 hours and then go back to the homepage and it'll be up with the Zoom links for the story times in May. And that's kind of fun. If you have your kids doing remote classes with your school, then work with your teachers and say, hey, Andrew's available to do story time with a class. That's a giveaway. I'm doing about 10 this week. Would love to be working with your kids. The TEDx we mentioned online, why the last 20 minutes of the day matter. If you look for me under that.
And we also have all the links just got reshared from the Mindvalley team and also consciousstories.com, the kids' mindfulness exercises, which again, you can find those links on Andrew's page as well. My biggest takeaway is that in order to help your children find stillness inside of them, we need to first find it inside of ourselves. That is the place where I'm going to start.
Amen. Okay. You got it.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up as the last comment kind of question, because I think several other people were asking about this. Do you have a book or story yet around children who maybe have been dishonest and relating with honesty and lying? Because this is a great topic. If not,
it's a great topic, and we could put 5 parents in a room and 8 kids, and we could make this story in about 10 minutes.
Yes.
Once upon a time, there was a potato whose name was Bob, who thought he was a carrot, and he told the whole world that everything tastes like sugar. I don't know. Yes. This is how my mind works. Excuse the madness.
No, it's amazing. We love seeing how it works. That's why we're here.
Right. And when we do that with a crowd and we make the theme about lying, then the story emerges. So I'll see if we can do that next time I've got a kids class that are interested in it and make a little vignette.
That'd be amazing. We could crowdsource the truth and lie story.
Totally. There's really what you're talking about is values beneath that. We're talking about honesty, we're talking about authenticity, we're talking about integrity. And the reason why kids will lie is probably about safety, probably about wanting to belong, and probably about wanting to get something. Right? And if we can address what the get is another way, in my training, we'd call it negative pleasure. There's positive pleasure and negative pleasure. They're like, yeah, I lied and I got a dopamine hit. It's I don't have one that specifically speaks to it. I would still say to you, go back to the hug who got stuck, which is a story about the hug factory in the middle of the heart, and the hug gets caught in what we call the web of sticky thoughts.
Yes.
And there's going to be a sticky thought beneath that lie that says, I'm not good enough, that I'm not safe enough, that I can't just be me. I have to try another way to get what I want. I'm not going to get money. And so if we can start to identify what some of those beliefs are, it can untangle the need for the lie in the first place.
That is a really, really good point, Andrew. Thank you everyone for still staying on the call, because obviously we're going just a couple minutes over, and I so appreciate all of you on here, and obviously Andrew for staying a couple minutes extra too. So just to kind of recap on Andrew's books, I'm sure that all of you can see that this is far more than just a story time. These books come complete with mindfulness exercises at the end and with stickers at the end, as Andrew was reflecting, to really kind of keep the sense and the spirit of the character alive after the story has been read. So this really is a whole healing and repairing system. So I definitely encourage all of you, if you have not already, please order Andrew's books. And your TED Talk link, is that on your website? Because I don't know if that got posted here, and I just want to make sure that people get that.
Much easier just to go TED Talk Andrew Newman.
Perfect. Google TED Talk Andrew Newman. Amazing. So people were asking again about the replay. Yes, the Mindvalley team has posted here in the chat box, will be available later today. Unfortunately, if we can't get Zoom harmonized with Facebook at the very beginning of the call, we can't actually get it posted until sometime after the call. So the tech team will make sure to get this replay up on Facebook, Mindvalley page, it'll be there. And otherwise you should be getting the email, follow up. And we will also include Andrew's links in the email follow up as well, just in case you haven't been able to navigate back into the chat box. And hooray, so happy to hear that there will be a replay. Yes, we've really tried, unless there has been some sort of random technical error, which definitely happens sometimes, you guys. Every other one has been posted for 24 hours. I think Dr. Ed was the only one that we had a massive technical problem with, so that did not happen. Okay, so also for everyone else on the call, Friday is technically the last free live call that we had planned for this free live call series for Little Humans. Friday's call is with, I don't even know, she's Soul Family. Christina Rasmussen. For those of you who don't know her work, she is an extraordinary mother who lost her husband, who was her soulmate, when her children were both very young. They were toddlers. She learned how to process her grief, went on to become an extraordinary grief coach and counselor. She has written several best-selling books, and she's going to be here to talk about grief and loss, including invisible losses that our children are going through during these times. This could not be more perfectly timed for her to be here with us. She is just an extraordinary transformational leader in so many ways. So I look forward to seeing you guys all back for the call on Friday. And that I've also mentioned that our friend Dan Siegel decided to come on next week as really a gift and a surprise for even Akira and I, that he is able to join us. So we only have 2 more calls left, you guys. Please, if you can drop in the chat box right now, Kaya, littlehumans.com/special. You guys, it's getting close to the end. If you have enjoyed being on these calls, if you have received value from these calls, which I know you have because so many people are saying so in the chat boxes, I'm getting so many personal messages as well. The way that we support each other and, keep things alive and keep this mission alive is by really coming into the community and investing, in yourself and into your family, because we're solving problems now. And with parenting, there is always, it's the next thing, and it's the next journey. It's the next brain development. It's the next thing that's coming up in our partnership. The healing, it's just not. We all wish sometimes that in life it was just a one-time practice, but it's not. It's a monthly practice. It's a weekly practice. It's a daily practice. And we would love to be there for you, to show up with wisdom and with community. So please, please join us in the Little Humans community, where we've got all the wisdom, we've got all the episodes, we've got all the copies of the live calls, and Andrew's episode in the Little Humans collection is just absolutely divine, hour-long masterclass. And he does also another book reading in the Little Humans collection. Okay, Andrew, any parting words from you, my friends?
Breathing in, breathing out. You guys I feel so much heart in this group. I feel so much care and kindness and desire to be great parents. Thank you for having that and following it. Thank you for following it and coming here to hang out. Renee, thank you for holding this community in the way that you do. These children who are your children are very lucky in the world, very lucky. And good enough parents, doing your best, as Brené Brown would say, doing your best. That's enough. And please, let's make it fun. You said I'm fun right at the beginning. We've had fun today. The story was fun. Let's make it fun. I'm here to help, right? You need me, you know where to find me. Reach out. Let's create the world the way we want it to be. And for me today, that's gentle.
Softness. Right there. I'm going to put it on my water right when we get off this call. Yes. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for being here. And also invite anyone else who you think might want to come onto the call on Friday and also next Thursday with Dan Siegel, littlehumans.com. Love you all. Thank you, Andrew, and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.